All right, I haven't got time to mark this motherfucker. Here we go again. We can't hear anybody. Nobody can talk to anybody.
You guessed your pressure points with your two favorite hosts. I'm D, and this is Captain AJ. We're coming at you with Season 8, Episode 18, North Korean Axe Murder. It's another 70s international serial killer episode. AJ gets his one killer episode for the season. Find us on Instagram, Patreon at pointsofpressure.com.
Well, turn the fucking thing off, you dumbass.
We're all thrown off. It's a Saturday, not a Sunday.
Yeah. I just woke up from a nap that was really cozy.
Oh, fuck. I'm jealous.
I had the dog sleeping right here. Her head was across my neck.
Oh, nice. Like a scarf?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, no nap's better than a nap where you're being choked a bit.
I was wearing Stevie like a scarf. It was so cozy.
Nice.
True crime was the word I was looking for in that intro. I guess the words, the combination of words. But yeah, we're all fucked up over here.
Yeah.
We're supposed to celebrate moms tomorrow. God, it's just all sorts of confusing.
Yeah, I got called into work. And
oh, you did?
Yeah, that's why we got to record today. Because I got to work the next
I thought
4
you were
nights
saying
in
you
a
called
row.
into work.
No, I
tomorrow.
got called into work. I can't
see.
call into work. I'm not allowed.
That's why I was confused. It's like, you called in today to work tomorrow at 6? That's okay, cool.
I wanted to give him enough time.
Yeah. Here's a 24-hour notice.
Yeah, I'm going to be sick tomorrow.
I'm going to be sick in 24 hours.
Yeah, but I can come in on Monday.
Yeah, welcome back. How was your week?
You know, not too bad, all things considered. Had fun out in the backyard with 10 cheeseburgers and, did some trash burning, did some planting.
Those fucking coals were still hot this morning.
I believe it.
I went out this afternoon and I threw some fucking sticks on there.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was just like, oh, yeah, like, whatever, I'll start burning shit. And then I looked at the clock and I was like, I got to leave in 45 minutes. Like, shit. And so I just fucking poured water all over them.
Perfect.
I was like, oh, well.
Yeah, that's a way to do it.
But, yeah, we got some fucking yard work done.
Yeah.
Got some cleaning up.
Yeah, it was nice.
Chill little week. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, no overtime?
Yeah, no overtime this week. So it's been...
We're back.
I'll be honest, it's been kind of odd. Like, I feel like I'd clock out of work and all week, I feel like I've been like, man, there's something I got to do. There's something I got to take care of. But every day was just like, oh, my God. Like,
Well, you passed it on to me, so fuck you.
I'm fucking free.
Because I have overtime. Yeah, tomorrow's overtime.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but that's because you called in. Oh, no.
I didn't call in.
God, I'm so confused.
Okay.
I swear you called in at some point. No, it's
I've
because you
never
came home early.
I came home early because we didn't have any patience. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
okay.
no. So it actually balances out really well.
Yeah, it worked out.
I mean,
it still sucks for you.
Sucks ass,
fucking
but
blows.
Yeah.
But take it easy.
I got today.
Yeah.
To relax.
Yeah. Hopefully it's pretty chill.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. I think 2 patients, 3 patients, get a couple, get rid of a couple, It shouldn't be bad. What's today?
The
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
10th.
Wednesday. Okay, cool. Sorry, just in my mind seeing who goes home when. So yeah, you ready to jump in on the North Korean axe murder?
Yeah, real quick though.
Oh, okay.
Back to your job. I was actually curious. Would it be easier, like when you have those 4 days in a row, if Liza wasn't fucking employed there?
Yes, absolutely.
Fucking bitch, dude.
Fuck.
God, said it before. I'll say it again.
Fuck
you,
Liza.
Liza.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can go ahead.
Okay. Now that we got that in.
I'm gonna meet her one day.
Oh, yeah.
Just fucking
No,
accent.
probably,
She's gonna be like, "You're a piece of shit." And I'm gonna be like,
fuck you.
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to do my one celebrity move where I'm gonna be like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, as you're throwing her
I don't
away.
even think about you.
Except for when we're recording. That's perfect. I can't wait for that day. So yeah, well, just to give a little background, I know we've talked about it a little bit, but I think it's important to throw the details in. A refresher. You know, I don't expect everybody to remember everything.
Yeah.
So July 27th, 1953, the Korean Armistice Agreement was signed, officially freezing the Korean War, not officially ending it. Technically, they're still at war.
They just called time out.
Pretty much. They just called a 70-year timeout.
Yeah. They said, time out.
Yeah, pretty much. So this created the DMZ, a roughly, I think it's 4-kilometer wide border between North and South Korea.
Okay.
And the, the conflict caused over 1 million military deaths and 2 to 3 million civilian deaths.
Yeah.
Go watch MASH. Yeah. Good show.
Measly numbers, if you ask me.
Rookie numbers, honestly.
Pump those up.
Yeah. We've got 8 billion people on this planet. Yeah. Can't wait for the first billion war.
Way more should have died.
Yeah.
Just gonna be honest.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. So, that happened. That adds some context to Korea, I believe. And then in 1976, so 23 years later, still an armistice, obviously. And there are certain areas. Nowadays, most of the DMZ is South Korean on one side, North Koreans on the other side, and very limited, like, you cannot walk into this barrier kind of thing.
Closer and closer kind of thing.
Well, it's just, you guys are on that side, we're on this side, and only very planned, scheduled events can cause the people to come together in the middle, like prisoner exchanges or diplomatic shit.
Yeah. You have to have an appointment.
Pretty much. But at this time, in the 70s, there were kind of these areas where the North and South Koreans would kind of mix. The troops would kind of mix. It would be kind of like a military base. And it's like, okay, half the buildings are North Korean, half the buildings are South Korean. And then we're going to throw in some UN buildings, some US buildings. And it's kind of like a military base with very restricted access to like weapons and things like that.
I see.
But it kind of mixed.
Yeah.
Which nowadays North Korea would never let that happen because they don't want any mixing or chances of communication. Because that causes issues when you're in a regime like that, interestingly. Couldn't imagine why.
It's fine.
Yeah. So at this specific area called the Joint Security Area, it was within the DMZ, and it was near it actually encompassed the Bridge of No Return.
Okay.
And it was basically down the road from Freedom Bridge. You can see who controls what bridge based on the names that America uses for them.
Bridge of No Return. Freedom Bridge. The Bridge of Darkness and Despair.
Yeah.
And Bridge Happy.
And Jesus Bridge. Jesus, our Lord and Savior Bridge.
Yeah, the God Bridge.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Manifest Destiny Bridge. Yeah, so...
We aren't picking sides.
No, not at all. So this area is technically ran by the Joint Security Forces from the UN command.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like peacekeeping UN type stuff.
Yeah. I think they should have just left it as a complete dead zone.
No, I think they should have done bare-knuckle boxing.
They should have.
And whoever wins gets 10 more feet.
They should have salted every fucking inch of the earth. Nothing grows there.
Burn it.
It's just dead.
You know,
There's nothing in between.
If they did
that would be fucking
this
awesome.
story would never have happened.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I like the idea that it's
true.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I'm sure that this Korean axe murderer was there. But yeah, I like in my brain I just imagine nothing. Like it's perfectly level. Like there's not a single bump or anything.
No.
Perfectly
the
flattest,
smooth.
Just completely
it's just asphalt.
dead. Yeah. Not even asphalt, just dirt.
Just
they didn't
dirt.
put anything down. It's just boom.
Perfect.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
That would be sick as fuck.
Yeah.
That comes off to me in my eyes as the most neutral.
Yeah, very
area.
neutral. And they shoot any animals trying to cross.
Yeah, if there's a bug, it gets blown up.
Oh yeah, absolutely decimated.
They mortar strike anthills.
Yeah. So yeah, it's technically run by the UN. They're kind of like, we're going to be the mediators between the South Korean troops, the North Korean troops, the U.S. troops, maybe some Chinese troops in the area a little bit, or some Soviet. I guess it would have been the Soviet troops at this time period.
Okay.
More likely. and they're just going to kind of mediate it. And in general, you can't
fucking
have
white people always getting involved.
Yeah, I mean, literally the DMZ. But in general, you weren't allowed to have weapons in this area. Like, the commanding officers didn't carry guns. Like, most people, you weren't allowed to have guns. The UN troops were allowed 5 armed officers and 30 armed soldiers.
Oh, okay.
And in general, the other troops were not allowed to have guns from any of the teams. The teams, like it's a sport. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's real.
Any of the UN Blue Boys.
Yeah. or any of the Koreans or any of the US or none of them. So
who did you want to win?
It seemed like there were
Korean
specific areas,
Championship.
like they couldn't control if the people in the North Korean buildings were armed to the teeth. They couldn't control what the troops were doing within their exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of an honesty policy.
And it was really difficult for me. I tried to figure out like what was the policy on this stuff, and there's not a lot of good information out there. But in general, the UN had 35 troops who had guns, and nobody else was allowed guns for the most part.
You were only allowed 30.
Well, 5 officers, 30 troops.
Oh, okay.
So 35.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll let it fly.
And as mediators, they were kind of, whenever the two sides would butt heads, which happened a lot because it's the Cold War, they would send in their commander to kind of ease the situation. So the Joint Security Forces commander, Captain Arthur Bonifaz,
okay,
was stationed there. He was kind of in command, as a commander would be. There was one incident of note prior to the events that I'm talking about today, where there were a bunch of like U.S. troops, just guns pointed at them from North Korean soldiers, and he was sent in to defuse the situation. He got them to back off.
He just put his
US
finger
troops
in
left.
one of their guns, and he was
Yeah.
like, pull the trigger, I fucking dare you. And they were like, oh,
No,
okay,
they would've.
let's chill out. Let's calm down. That's some big dick energy moves.
I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, nobody pull your triggers. We're sorry.
No, and in general, North Korea did not like that the U.S. was still involved with South Korea. They didn't like that the UN was kind of trying to control and mediate these points, as you would believe.
Yeah, because they're like, what did you name our bridge?
Yeah, absolutely. It was all about the bridge. So yeah, he was...
Remind me again how you're neutral?
Yeah. He was pretty successful in preventing big incidents from bubbling up and pretty good at diffusing. He had his job for a reason.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a negotiator. The negotiator. Yeah. Well, that's from Star Wars.
Oh, the negotiator. Yeah.
There was just one problem for the U.S. and South Korea in this joint security area.
North Korea.
There was a tree.
See, I told you shouldn't let any
Should have salted the earth.
Yeah, you can't let anything grow, man.
There was a 100-foot, I believe it was a poplar tree.
Holy shit.
That just blocked vision between a UN security checkpoint and what I think it was a U.S. observation post. So it kind of blocked the vision between the two. And they were like, we should probably be able to see what's going on at our observation post to the other areas within this base.
And they were like, no.
Well, they didn't ask permission. So August 18th, 1976, 5 dudes from the Korean Service Corps, which is a U.S. battalion active in South Korea, does like logistics and kind of engineering stuff, not as much. They were escorted by a UN security team headed up by Captain Bonifaz. There was an American lieutenant there, and there were some... Oh, and the South Korean Captain Kim was there, and 11 enlisted troops, both American and Korean.
They were carrying one of those long, like, Looney Tunes.
Big saw.
Fucking saws.
Huge saw. Sounds like thunder.
Yeah.
So they show up, and they walk up to this tree. Again, none of them are armed. And they just start...
they're wielding a giant saw.
A giant saw, yeah. They
started... my ass.
They did have axes. The 5 Korean Service Corps guys had axes, and they start pruning the tree a bit. They're not going to cut it down. They're just going to prune it a little bit, kind of climb up it, see what they can do. And all of a sudden, 15 North Korean troops just appear basically out of nowhere, it felt like.
Oh, God.
Headed by Lieutenant Pak Chol, also known as Lieutenant Bulldog. Because he had a reputation for starting shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get dog in your in your nickname without being a real mean motherfucker.
Yeah. So they sat there, empty-handed, no weapons.
Except for the axes and the saw.
Well, no, the North Korean troops. Yeah, they didn't have a saw. They brought their own saw. And they
I'll
observed.
show up with fucking chainsaws.
Yeah. No, they observed the pruning for about 15 minutes before the Lieutenant Puck, or Lieutenant Bulldog, orders them to stop. Basically, stop pruning immediately. You can't do this. And Captain Boniface says, yes, we can. Keep going. Keep pruning the trees.
Uh-oh.
And he just turned around, turned his back to him.
Poking the bear.
The dog.
Poking the dog.
Poking the dog. Lieutenant Bulldog sent one of his troops as a runner across the bridge of no return. And a couple minutes later, he returned over the bridge.
That's against the rules.
That's against the rules. But he brought with him a truck.
Oh.
And the truck kind of came over, and 20 more North Korean dudes pile out of the truck with crowbars, clubs, and pickaxes in their hands.
What the fuck? They're like, you're not going to prune this tree. We're going to beat it down. Start smacking the shit out of it.
Lieutenant Pak comes over to Captain Boniface and says, stop cutting this tree down immediately, right now.
Why?
And he says, no, we're allowed to do this. There's nothing wrong. He turns his back to him.
This is fucking no man's land.
Yeah, it's like it's a tree. Who gives a shit? So Lieutenant Pak takes off his watch, which Boniface didn't see because his back was to him. Took off his watch, wrapped it in his handkerchief, put it in his pocket, and yelled, "Kill the bastards!"
Oh, fuck.
And he pushes Captain Boniface down. And immediately, 5 North Korean troops are beating the absolute shit out of Captain Boniface on the ground with pickaxes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they kill him. They kill the shit out of that guy.
I would imagine, yeah.
And immediately,
crowbars and pickaxes
they're
and
just
shit.
wailing on the UN security forces. They're hitting everybody. All but one guy was injured. Jesus. And he just fucking booked it.
The 2 dudes on either end of the axe are just running forward at them, trying to chop people in half.
With the saw. Yeah. And they beat the absolute shit out of the UN and U.S. troops.
So what?
Because they weren't supposed to be chopping down the tree. Aren't you paying attention?
I am. I'm trying to find out why they weren't supposed to chop it down. But my assumption is this is just a glorified dick measuring contest. And it seems like the people who brought the pickaxes and crowbars won.
No.
But yeah, I was just curious. I was like, is it a special tree? But it was just them being bitches. Okay.
It was just them being bitches. North Korea had a very common tactic where they would provoke something and then turn around and blame it on self-defense.
Yeah. Well, when you're...
It happened very often.
When you're currently still
continues
fucking
to happen. Yeah.
When you're funneling in and limiting your news sources. I guess I can't really talk shit because it's happening in the U.S.
Oh yeah, we do it too. But pickaxes, come on, have some decorum.
Yeah, they showed up at our gates with hatchets and saws.
Yeah. The
pruners, they were going to clip our dicks off. What else are we supposed
What else
to
are
do?
those pruners are for?
Yeah.
They're man pruners.
Penis pruners. They wanted to circumcise all of us.
What the fuck? The North Koreans are Jewish? Oh God. Now that's a fucking clickbait title.
Lord.
It was 30 seconds, and everybody fucking booked it because obviously. And the North Koreans were seen loading Boniface's body into their truck and just driving away with the body.
Oh, fuck. They took him across the bridge of no return.
They probably did.
I mean, they had to.
There was an American lieutenant that I had mentioned, Lieutenant Barrett, I believe was his name. He had been injured, jumped over a little wall, and there was kind of this depression, this pit kind of thing that you couldn't really see from the road or from the tree. So he went down there, kind of escaped.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, little trench or something. Yeah. And after this event, there were UN observers everywhere, just scoping the area out. And they, weirdly enough, witnessed and were recording on film. This film exists somewhere.
Oh, shit.
North Korean troops jumping into the depression with an axe, being down there for about 5 minutes, jumping out, and then handing the axe to another guy. And that went on for 90 minutes. At that point, after 90 minutes, they were actually informed that one of their people was missing and unaccounted for, Lieutenant Barrett.
Oh.
So they put together an armed rescue team. They go down to that area, and they find him alive.
Oh.
Chopped to shit.
Oh.
Because he'd been tortured for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
He died during transport to the hospital.
Fucking
just
hell,
chopped to
dude.
shit.
Jesus.
And they were like, what the fuck do we do? Like,
Don't touch
obviously,
that tree.
they can't get away with this, but we also don't want to escalate this into continuing the war.
Yeah.
We have a lot more nukes on the planet now.
Yeah, the
as
war's
well.
been on standby for 20 years, and it's like, do we start it all back up again because they killed the UN? Because then that involved it. I mean,
and an American soldier.
It would essentially turn it into a world war at that point.
Yeah, that's the
instead of
reason it
just-
stopped in the first place.
Yeah.
Because it was going that way. I mean, one of the many. But there's also this thought at this time period that the North Koreans would push and push and push because they knew they could get away with it because the other side was so committed to keeping the peace that they could kind of get away with shit like this.
Yeah. The U.S. said, I know how we can solve this. Let's kill a bunch of civilians in Vietnam.
Perfect. So very, very quickly after this, like the
Don't
same
worry,
day,
we'll get back at them.
Yeah, we'll get them.
Just fucking displacing their anger.
So the exact same day, North Korea starts reporting and broadcasting that they had sent 4 troops to approach the UN guys, and that they were given the orders to just go ask and point out that pruning, in this zone should be done mutually. We should talk about it and do it together. And we only sent 4 guys, and we killed 2 of their guys in self-defense because they provoked us and started attacking us.
Okay.
That was the story. At the same time, Kim Jong-il was at a conference of non-aligned nations, which was a group of 120 nations that were not aligned with or technically against the major bloc powers, like the Soviet bloc or the Americans and stuff. He was already talking at the conference, and he used this opportunity to introduce a resolution to condemn the attack caused by the Americans.
Did he do any kind of explanation on how a tree should be pruned or anything, or did he just
Probably
leave it up for?
Well, he said, "Watch this
interpretation?"
film.
Yeah.
Watch this film I've had produced about tree pruning." Well, my fat son, I don't know, he's just here. So the resolution passes because, I mean, there's a lot. This non-aligned nations thing is really interesting.
We are not aligned. We are aligned with each other, but we're not
Yeah,
aligned.
and we're aligned with the puppet states of these other groups.
We are not affiliated. We're affiliated with one another, but we're not affiliated.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
come
really,
on.
there's
Come
a lot.
on.
He also used the event to urge political support for total U.S. withdrawal from Korea, dissolution of the United Nations command. Like, he was really pushing this forward as some propaganda.
Of course.
And the CIA very quickly put out a report where they were like, hey, they did this on purpose. Like, this was pre-planned. They were going to do something
100%.
that day.
They had that truck ready to go.
Yeah, the truck was ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, they were ready. And they actually brought the American forces in Korea to DEFCON 3, which it's 5-1, 1 being nuclear wars imminent.
Yeah.
So it moved up from DEFCON 4 to DEFCON 3. Like, hey, shit's going on. Like, get ready, kind of thing. Immediately, there are crisis talks at the White House. Gerald Ford leading the call. We don't talk about Ford very much. Gerald Ford, at least. So, yeah, he holds crisis talks at the White House, and the UNC, the United Nations Command, decides the only way to make this right is to chop down the tree fully.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that...
I thought that was the initial approach is, hey, you know what? We just cut this whole fucker down, and it's
Now it's not an
nobody's
issue.
problem.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a story about my life that applies to this perfectly.
Yeah, chopping down a tree.
Yeah, no. When I was a kid, we lived in.
Are you gonna tell me the George Washington cherry tree story right now?
No, it's pretty close.
That'd be really funny.
Yeah, I'm like, there was a cherry tree. No, when I lived in fucking Salt Lake area when I was a kid, we had these neighbor boys that were just shitheads. And they were both the same age as my two older sisters. And my two older sisters hated them because they would just pick on them. And then my sisters would get mad at them. And it was just a fucking mess. So there was a tree that was right between, it was on like that strip of area right before the curb, between the sidewalk and the curb.
Oh, yeah, like the parking strip.
Yeah. And it was like the tree was on their side, like technically their land. And the branches came over into our side. And I don't fucking know what all the shit was, but my sisters were getting all pissed off saying, "Oh, we're going to cut this branch off." And these kids were like, "Well, we'll fucking sue you because that's our tree," and all this shit. And they were arguing about this for like a good hour. And there was, I don't even know who the fucking guy was. Some dude, the mysterious stranger.
Yeah, appears.
He's walking. He was probably just out for a walk, and he was like, "Shut the fuck up. This is the dumbest argument." But he walks up, and he just stood there for a second, and I was playing basketball, watching and shit. And he just stands there. He goes, "Well, how about this? Why don't I just come over and I cut the whole damn tree down?" And everybody just kind of looked at each other, and they were like, "Yeah, this is kind of a dumb argument." They just dispersed. But that was the first thing that came to mind. Just cut the fucking tree down.
Cut the tree down. See, now let me show you what a stable government, stable people, stable ideas decide to do.
Mortar strike them.
Mortar strike the tree. Lasers. They use their space lasers.
Shift our border 4 miles north.
Yeah. We're going to cede this land to them. They can have it. No, so they start these crisis talks. They bring in a General Richard Stilwell of the U.S. military, and they decide, we need to chop down this tree. We need to use it as a show of force, and we need to do it in a way that won't cause escalation.
Good luck.
Yeah.
They couldn't even fucking prune the tree without escalation, buddy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So 2 days of crisis talks.
Over
and they're
a tree.
Ready. Over a tree, by the way. Millions and millions and millions of dollars, U.S. tax dollars, by the way, for a tree in the DMZ between North and South Korea.
Hey, Jesus Christ, am I right?
Yeah.
That was bad. Hit the
Yeah.
hit the applause.
Nope.
Yeah.
There we go.
There
Hey,
it is.
first time we get to use those. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm not even going to tell you the plan. We're just going to jump in to Operation Paul Bunyan.
Oh, is that really what it was called?
That is 100% what it was called.
Fucking so stupid, dude. Only the CIA came up with that name.
They have
It's
to.
canon.
So 3 days after Boniface was killed by an axe murderer in North Korea,
They started Operation Paul Bunyan.
they started Operation Paul Bunyan as Task Force Vieira, named after, I believe, a colonel who was in command of this group. Task Force Vieira drives into the joint security area at 7 a.m. without any prior warning to North Korea.
You didn't have an appointment.
The North Koreans only had one of their observation posts staffed at that time. Well, I don't know why they would do that, but they drive in, and Task Force Vieira consists of 23 military vehicles full of U.S., South Korean, and United Nations troops.
Okay. Uh-oh.
It is 2 30-man security platoons and 2 8-man squads of military engineers with chainsaws roaring and ready to go.
Fuck yeah. A little part of me was hoping that they were just going to dig underneath all the way over to the tree, dig up,
suck it down,
and destroy the entire root system so that it would just collapse.
That's what the CIA would do.
The CIA was like, why don't we just inject it with fucking
with
LSD?
a truth serum. Yeah. Make that tree talk.
Why don't we suck the tree into the ground and dump it into the core of the earth?
Yeah. That'll show them.
God.
So they show up, And their security team is armed with pistols and axe handles, which is kind of badass.
That's pretty sick.
One team moves to secure the bridge, just their side of it. The other team kind of secures the perimeter south of the tree, making sure whoever is in the buildings can't come over and disrupt. They also, this is where it kind of gets a little convoluted, so bear with me. Okay, this
I like
is
that
where
it was like, we had 2 days of peace talks. We're going to solve this by arming every fucking person in this troop.
They deploy
cut
a
this tree
team
down.
to the nearby Freedom Bridge, and they aim a tank directly at the center where they know a hit will drop the bridge. Just in case. They have multiple engineering teams along the DMZ ready to deploy rafts and pontoon bridges in case they need to evacuate anybody over the river.
Okay.
The South Korean Airborne 1st Special Forces Task Force came. 64 dudes. They show up in trucks, and they're following the rules, sidearms only.
Yeah.
And they start setting up sandbags out of their trucks at the bridge. And then underneath the sandbags are M16 rifles, M79 grenade launchers. And they set up right there. Special forces. They also have claymores strapped to their chests with the detonators in their hands.
Oh, my God.
So that if the guys come up to them, they click it and it explodes out from them.
Jesus. Can you imagine the force kicking you backwards? That would break all of your fucking ribs.
They would not survive, I don't
Holy
think.
shit.
That would be rough. And they start yelling at the North Koreans who are on the other side of the bridge, basically saying, you come over here, we're hitting these. Like, fuck you. And they start yelling. They control this situation pretty well.
I mean, to me, as much as I hate the idea of it, it makes sense because North Korea's they've already killed 2 people over this fucking tree. They've already, in a way, said, if you do anything else to this tree, this war is going to escalate. So, of course, the response is, well, 1, we're going to get rid of the tree if it's such a fucking problem. And 2, we're going to come out showing that we're ready for war to start up again. If you want this to become DEFCON 2, we're going to be ready for it to be DEFCON 2. You guys just have to be the ones to start the fight. This is your choice. Again. Yeah. You started the fight before.
They're fully doing because the Koreans were saying it was provocation. You provoked us. It was self-defense. They're doing hey, it's on you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Come explain how this is self-defense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's see. So that's not even the half of it.
Oh my God.
Also, this is a buildup of multiple North Korean provocations.
That's
not the straw. The
tree
was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
But
the
from
tree
the news,
that broke
it's the
Bonita's
tree
back.
that broke Bonifa's back. Yeah. So
Bonifa, not Bonita.
Yeah, not Bonita. Bonita. So
I am Bonita.
An entire U.S. infantry company is in South Korea in helicopters, just hovering.
Just
on the South Korean side. Just waiting, just in case. 20 helicopters full of infantry.
Holy shit.
Behind them. Just not even within sight of the DMZ, are multiple B-52 Stratofortresses, which are huge strategic bombers. They are escorted by F-4 Phantom jets and multiple South Korean jets. The USS Midway aircraft carrier was stationed offshore overnight.
Jesus.
Along the DMZ, all the allied military bases and joint zones were rigged to explode if need be, to avoid them from falling into North Korean hands.
They were like, we're having peace talks, but really they're just we're putting everything together right now.
12,000 troops, including 1,800 Marines, were stationed along the DMZ with rockets, tanks, military vehicles, and just to sprinkle it, a couple nuclear-capable strategic bombers. We don't know if they have nukes in them, though. We're just circling very high altitude along this area and over some North Korean cities.
Yeah.
The engineers pulled up to the tree. The security, the perimeter was secure. They break out the chainsaws and they get to work. You got to chop it from the top down.
Operation Paul Bunyan commences.
Yep, they pull up.
Jesus Christ.
They start setting up, the chainsaws roar into life, and North Korea sends in their response. 200 troops in buses
Oh my god.
show up on the other side of the bridge.
They're so stupid.
They have assault rifles,
Yeah.
but they stayed in the buses.
Yeah, but even then, it's just like, oh my god.
The commanding officer in charge of the engineers stood up on the hood of his like car truck and is observing. And Lieutenant Colonel Vieira notices the North Korean troops are starting to arrive. So you know what he does? He sends a little radio message. And all of those air vehicles start
Fucking take
deploying.
off, yeah.
And they're coming from Japan, they're coming from just Korea, and they like the helicopters basically like drop out of the clouds.
How fucking loud that would be.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Plus the chainsaws.
Yeah. You wouldn't even be able to hear the chainsaw that you're running without like 20 fucking attack choppers just right above you.
Just drop down. The strata, what are they called? I want to say Stratocaster. What the fuck? Where the fuck is it?
The Stratocaster. They're blasting.
The Stratofortresses are showing up. The jets are just flying over the DMZ. And radio traffic that's being monitored in North Korea.
Oh, I'm sure it's going crazy.
Is like, what the fuck is happening? Why are there like all the military accessible airports in South Korea and Japan that the U.S. had access to were nose to tail deploying aircraft.
Jesus.
It was just one after another, after another, all just doing these flyovers.
God damn.
Let's see. And about at that time, the UNC sent a message to North Korea saying that, hey, we sent a work party into, and I quote, in order to peacefully finish the work left unfinished.
That's so fucking petty.
So petty. The North Korean troops got out of their buses and set up some machine gun nests on their side as if that would do fucking anything.
Yeah. It's like you'll be able to shoot maybe one person.
Yeah. And they just silently watched the tree get cut down over 42 minutes. 3 minutes ahead of schedule.
Where was Bulldog? Where's Big Dick
probably
Bulldog?
shitting himself.
Man,
He was not there as far as I know.
What a bitch.
They chopped down the tree. They tore out some North Korean road barriers that were just annoying them. A couple South Korean troops vandalized some North Korean guard outposts. They probably drew dicks on there or something.
Yeah.
And then they quickly withdrew as quick as they arrived.
I like to imagine they took all of the lumber and everything and just put it on the bridge to no return. They're just fuck you.
Here you go. And they...
here's your precious tree.
They left 20 foot of stump, just bare stump.
Oh, my God.
Left.
Jesus
just
Christ.
sticking up.
20 feet is still a lot, but
but it's just
a 100-foot tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
they
crazy.
Completely no branches or nothing, completely stripped. And pretty sure they like fucked up the bark and everything. Like it was dead. That tree's not coming back. And it was just like a big middle finger to the taxpayers and to North Korea.
Jeez, no kidding.
The UNC demands North Korea punish those involved and pay reparations to the families of the two dead guys.
North Korea said, sorry, we don't speak English.
Well, very quickly, during the event, Kim Il-sung responded, and he said, it was a good thing that no big incident occurred at Panmunjom, which was nearby on the North Korean side. That's where they actually signed the armistice, right next to this spot.
Oh, okay.
For a long period. However, it is regretful that an incident occurred in the joint security area, Panmunjom, this time. An effort must be made so that such incidents may not recur in the future. For this purpose, both sides should make efforts.
Oh my
we urge
God,
your
dude.
side to prevent provocation. Our side will never provoke first, but take self-defensive measures only when provocation occurs. This is our consistent stand.
Fuck off.
But this is the closest thing they had gotten to an apology, so they're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, they're like, all right.
And they did do like the reparations and stuff. So they were basically taking credit, but
We're like, well, we're
they wouldn't be
sorry, but
written
we're
down
not saying we're
for-
sorry. Yeah.
for taking credit.
Their apology was, this kind of thing shouldn't happen again.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we know.
we're aware. The stump remained in this area until 1986, where it was replaced with a stone monument to the two who had died, giving the U.S. and South Korean version of events.
Okay.
They took some of the wood, and I think the general who was involved basically made a swagger stick out of it, which is kind of like a riding crop, and it's been passed down general to general, like some general has it now.
That's sick.
In the mid-'80s, the North Koreans were like, ooh, this place just being open kind of makes us look weak. Yeah. You remember that time we backed down? So they put a bunch of like concrete bollards.
Oh, yeah.
Like across the bridge, basically making it it's not useful anymore.
Kind of thing.
Inaccessible. And they pulled their troops to their side of the bridge and said the South Koreans can have that side of the bridge.
Ah, I see.
Did it fully separated because they, really didn't like troops mixing and people mixing from North and South Korea, because then they realized how much better it is to live in South Korea than North Korea. And just to avoid further incidents was the official thing.
I see.
One of the Special Forces guys from South Korea, one of the Claymore guys probably, well, I think he was actually on the back line, not the front line, but doesn't matter. One of the Special Forces Korean guys would go on to become South Korea's 12th president.
Oh, hell yeah.
He was president until 2022.
Damn.
And he's considered one of the most popular presidents since they democratized in 1987.
Hey, hell yeah.
So
good to hear it.
I just love this.
Still, and to this day, he still has that claymore on his chest.
He still has that claymore on his chest. That's how he got so many.
He's still holding the fucking
through.
button.
Oh yeah, that's why his wife didn't leave him.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I
They
just
held a vote for best president.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Vote against me.
Vote.
Do it.
Vote
against me. I dare you."
Yeah. No, and it's just God, further proof that the entirety of the Cold War was a dick measuring contest. Like,
for real, God.
There's just so many ways that this could have been avoided.
Can you imagine if this escalated though?
If this was the tree war,
the
pruning, the war of the pruners.
Yeah, for real.
Oh God, yeah. Like, imagine this was when nuclear war broke out.
Yeah,
because like it escalates. They bomb the bridges. There's all these attacks along the DMZ, and they just say, nuke whatever. I already forgot North Korea's capital.
North Korea just fucking
nuke them.
They're like, just blast off a shell and hit that tree and kill all those fucking guys with the chainsaws. And then it's like, from there, it's like,
oh my God.
World War III just commenced.
Yeah, like it
30
really would have
years
been
after World War II.
The only thing,
it would have been after that.
It would have been, but North Korea probably would have been melted very quickly in this case, just because they were so ready.
Oh yeah,
like they had so much Air Force.
Yeah, for real.
Just ready to go.
Jesus Christ, what a trip!
And now imagine the world today if they had just nuked Pyongyang. There we go.
Pyongyang.
And just that would have been like the Chernobyl exclusion zone, and it would have just been Korea.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! Alternate history,
Mm-hmm.
Good.
That's what we covered. This was all alternate history. None of this happened.
Yeah.
God. That's like the dream sequence in a movie. Fuck that.
Mm-hmm. No thanks.
Yeah. So that's not a true crime episode.
Yeah, I suppose it wasn't.
So I still got one.
Yeah,
in my back pocket.
You're still in the clear. But yeah, if you guys want more of that, check us out on Patreon.
Don't patronize me.
No, it was a great episode. I love such an inconsequential thing for such like a preposterous fallout for everything that did happen. It's just ridiculous. But check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/points-o-pressure. We really appreciate you guys, but you can get an exclusive episode every month. We have our Sloppy Seconds backlog, and AJ has his series called Voices that he's currently working on. That's probably some of our more powerful and
sad,
not shithead content. So check us out on there. You got those names, sir?
Yes, we've got the Tree Pruning Committee, Minnie D, Thomas, Toddle Waddle, and Grover. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
And then we've got Abby, AJ's Third Nut, Nordic Thunder, Weston, Dark Runner, D's Nuts, and G-Dog, all North Korean collaborators.
True. It's all very true.
Yeah. Thank you guys for letting us do this stuff.
Yeah, we appreciate
week
you.
after week, year after year.
Yeah. Decade
after
decade.
decade.
Yeah, we really, really do appreciate your guys' support. We also have a free tier on there, so go check us out. We just don't read your names because we appreciate you. We just don't like telling people we appreciate you. And as always, if you guys ever have any recommendations for movies, TV shows, books, whatever, find us on Instagram and oh god, it's a mess. Find us on Instagram at Points Out Pressure. Go to our website, pointsofpressure.com. Send us an email, voicemail. We'll catch you next Monday.